This ability can be classified into two types. One is intellectual ability and physical ability. Here physical ability as well as the intellectual ability is not same, but you cannot judge with these two abilities. So they have their own strengths and weaknesses. Your biological factors will influence on your behavior, that is your personality. So your biological factors will affect for your personality, that means it reflects on your behavior to adjust with the external environment. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to one and all to the second session on organizational behavior. In the last session, we started with the second unit, that is foundations of individual behavior. In today's session, let us continue with the remaining concept. So in today's session, let us discuss with the ability in the organizational behavior. So what do you mean by ability and the types of ability, that is intellectual ability and physical ability. So next one, personality. So what do you mean by personality? What are the foundations of personality? Then characteristics of personality. So let us start with the ability. So what do you mean by ability? Ability is a capacity of an individual to perform a particular job. So individual capacity is different. One individual capacity is different from other individual. So in the organization, you need to analyze, you need to study the individual ability to assign a various tasks. So ability here, ability is the current assessment of what one can do. What one can do, your capacity to perform. Either it may be a physical task or it may be a mental task. So your capacity to perform a particular task. For example, if it comes for a physical task, so the weight lift. So an individual can lift up to 50 kg, but it is not same with other individual. So he can lift up to 40 kg or 20 kgs. So then again, when you compare with the male and female, so the male candidate or male employee, he can lift more weight because their physical strength. So it is different between each other. So there is a difference between each other. So here ability is a capacity of an individual to perform a particular task or what an individual can do. So here what we are acknowledging is that everyone has a strength and weakness in terms of their ability, and ability in the sense their capacity. So it make him or her relatively superior or inferior based on their ability and capacity to other in performing their certain tasks. So when you compare with the others, so your capacity and your ability will influence or it makes you superior or inferior. According to Stephen P. Robin, ability is an individual's capacity to perform various tasks in a job. So your capacity to perform a various tasks in job. So in the organizational behavior, there is two types of ability. So this ability can be classified into two types. One is intellectual ability and physical ability. So what do you mean by intellectual ability? Intellectual ability is the capacity to do mental activity. So here mental ability, that is thinking, reasoning and problem solving. So you are thinking, reasoning and problem solving. So this is all about your intellectual ability. So your capacity to think for reasoning and problem solving methodology. So here it commonly refers to the ability measured by performance on an intelligence test. Ability measured by performance of an intelligence test. So how you can analyze the problem and how you will give the solution for the problem. So that is your thinking ability, your reasoning ability and problem solving methodology. So again it is the dimension for this intellectual ability. So here we have a 7 dimension for this intellectual ability. So under that first one is a number aptitude. So number aptitude is the ability to do speedy and accurate arithmetic. So 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. So 24 into 24. So the speedy and accurate answer. So you should calculate as well as give an accurate answer in a minimum time, in a fraction of seconds. That is number aptitude, that is speedy and accurate arithmetic. So next one, comprehensive. So it is ability to understand what is read and hear, relationship of word to each other. So it is a how you understand and analyze the relationship between read or the relationship between words. So next one, perceptual speed. It is dying ability to identify visual similarities and differences quickly and accurately. So for this, you have various application, mobile games for this perceptual speed. So find out the differences. You need to find the differences between two images, then or else you need to find out the differences as well as the similarities. So if they given you two images, find out the similarities or else find out the differences. So that is your ability, how quickly you can analyze and you can give the answer for this differences and similarity. So that is perceptual speed. Next one, inductive reasoning. It is ability to identify a logical sequence in a problem and then solve the problem. For example, in our arithmetic progression, you have 2, 4, 6, it continues. So here, the question is, find out the 10th term. Find out the 10th term. So for this, in order to give the answer, in order to solve this problem, first you need to identify the logic. So now find out the logic. 2, 4. So 4 minus 2 is equals to 2. Again 6, 4. Difference is 4. So the logic is, they are going to increase two numbers. So first find out the logic, then solve the problem. So here you'll find the logic. So that is inductive reasoning. So find out the logic in a problem, in a given problem, and then solve the problem. So next, deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning, it is the ability to see logic, assess and implication of the art argument. That means in the same example, now you have analyzed and find out the logic, then implies or apply this logic to find out the answer. So that is deductive reasoning. Then special visualization. Special visualization is your mental ability to visualize one object when it is displaced or when it is replaced. So it is a mental ability of an individual to visualize the object. Imagine how an object would look if it is replaced or the place is changed. So your mental ability to visualize the object. Last one, memory. So it is ability to retain and recall the past experience. So these all are the dimension for intellectual ability. So now intellectual ability is ability of an individual. So mental ability of an individual to perform a particular job. So next one, physical ability. What do you mean by physical ability? So physical ability is a physical strength or physical capacity to perform a particular job. So the physical as well as the mental ability, that is intellectual ability, is not same. So you cannot judge an individual with the physical and mental ability. So the mental ability to perform a particular job, to perform some activity, it requires intellectual ability. To perform other activity, to perform the remaining activity, it requires physical ability. For example, for the construction of building, it requires physical ability rather than intellectual ability. For the planning purpose, it requires intellectual ability. So you cannot compare these two persons, the construction, the workers or the employees as well as the engineers. So you cannot compare these two individuals. So their ability you cannot compare. So both the individual, both the abilities are important. They have their own strength and their weakness, but this is not same. So next, advantages of intellectual ability. So first one is highly reliable. It is highly reliable. Next, verbal reasoning and numerical tests have shown high validity for a wide range of jobs. So the wide range of job, it requires intellectual ability. Next, the validity rises with the increasing complexity of the job. So the intellectual ability, it requires in a various field. The combination of aptitude tests have higher validities than the individual test alone. So the combination of this aptitude test have a higher validity than an individual test. So it may be administered in group setting where Many applicants can be tested at the same time. So, many applicants can test through this aptitude test. So, these are the advantages of intellectual ability. So, next one is physical ability. What do you mean by physical ability? Physical ability is a physical strength of an individual to perform a particular task. Physical ability is the capacity to do the task that demands stamina, desired strength and similar characteristics. So, this physical ability, it demands, in order to perform a particular job, it demands stamina, desires and physical strength to perform that particular task or job. So, it can be identified individuals who are physically able to perform this essential function of a job without risking injury to others. So, without injuring others, so your ability to perform those particular job. So, here physical ability as well as the intellectual ability is not same, but you cannot judge with these two ability. So, they have their own strength and weaknesses. So, again we have a dimension for this physical ability also. So, under that first one is a dynamic strength. So, ability to exert muscular force continuously over time. So, that is dynamic strength. Then trunk strength, ability to exert muscular using trunk muscular. So, next one, static strength. It is ability to force against the external object. Your ability to force or for the external object. So, your physical ability for the external object. Then explosive strength, ability to expand a maximum of energy in one or more series of explosive acts. Then extend flexibility, ability to move the trunk and back muscular as far as possible. So, next one, dynamic flexibility. Dynamic flexibility, ability to make a rapid and repeated flexible movements. So, next, body coordination, ability to coordinate the simultaneous action of the different parts of the body. Next, balance, ability to maintain equilibrium despite force pulling of balance. So, next one, stamina, ability to continue maximum efforts requiring prolonged efforts over time. So, the stamina required to perform a particular job. So, these all are the dimension for physical ability. So, now you know the physical ability, meaning of physical ability and intellectual ability. So, what all are the difference between physical ability and intellectual ability? So, these all are the dimensions of physical ability. Then, what all are the advantages of physical ability? It can be identify individuals who are physically unable to perform the essential function for a job. He may be good in intellectual ability. So that you can identify that ability and you can place or you can assign a different task for the individual based on their capacity and ability. So without risking injury to themselves or others. So now we are going to analyze. So whether you can perform the job without injuring yourself as well as others. So next one, it can result in decreased cost related to disability or medical claims insurance. So that means when you are expert or your ability is more means, so the medical claims and the injuries are less. So it reduces the cost for organization. So next, worker compensation. So when you work effectively, it leads for compensation. Then decreased absenteeism. So based on your ability, if the task are assigned, so it reduces the absenteeism. So these are the advantages of physical ability. Moving further, what are the differences? So now you know the meaning of physical ability and the intellectual ability as well as the dimension. So now what is the difference between these two, intellectual and physical ability? So first one is intellectual ability is the capacity to do the activity with the thinking, reasoning and problem solving method. So here it requires to perform a job. It demands for the stamina, strength and desire. So this is with the physical strength and stamina. It requires your mental ability, that is your thinking ability and reasoning and problem solving methodology. So intellectual ability is doing with mind. So it is with your mind, intellectual ability. Physical ability is with your body strength. So next one, it measures of intelligence and understanding concept and thinking critically. So you need to give work for your mind. So you need to think critically, then you need to give solution or answer for that problem. So here it is capacity of performing physical accomplishment such as flexibility, coordination, basic motor skills. So it requires physical strength to perform a task. So it is related to skills of mind, it is related to skills of physical structure or strength of an individual. It plays a vital role in complex job with the demanding information processing requirement. So for the information processing, for the paperwork, like for this information processing requirement, it demands intellectual ability. So for the physical work, it demands for the physical ability. So next, intellectual ability is the ability of the mind, that is how clever a person is, So here physical ability is ability of an individual, that is body, how strong your body is. So it's with your mind and it's with your body. Then the dimension. So dimensions of intellectual ability, then dimension of physical ability. So number, aptitude, verbal, comprehensive, perceptual speed, all the dimension, that is types of intellectual ability and the types of physical ability. So these all are the difference between the intellectual ability and physical ability. Moving further, next concept is personality. So what do you mean by personality? The word personality is derived from the Latin word personare, which means to speak through. Traditionally, we define personality as individual ability, how an individual can influence others by their external appearance. So through the external appearance, you can influence others. So this we call it as a personality according to the traditional method. So now, according to Gordon Alford, he defines personality is the dynamic organizations within an individual. Dynamic organization. So it's changing, continuously it's changing. So within an organization, within an individual, of those psychological system that determines his unique adjustment to his environment. So it's a dynamic in nature, it's continuously it's changing, and it's an individual psychological factors. So he can adjust with the external environment. So how is ready to adjust, how flexible you are to adjust for the external environment. So that is personality according to Gordon Alford. So according to Gordon Alford, personality is a dynamic organization within an individual. So it's a psychological factors to adjust with the external environment. So next, some of the fundamental characteristics of personality. First one, consistency. So you need to maintain a consistency in your behavior. So once you don't like something means, so it should be consistent. You should maintain that consistency. So when you make a decision, you should be firm with that decision. So that you need to maintain the consistency of behavior. So next one, psychological and physiological factors. So the components or the characteristics. So one of the components and characteristics is psychological and physiological factors. So it says your biological factors will influence on your behavior, that is your personality. So your biological factors will affect for your personality. That means it reflects on your behavior to adjust with the external environment. So the combination of this physical and your psychological and physiological factors will influence for your personality. So it impacts behaviors and action. So your personality will influence on the behavior. So if you are, the personality explains how flexible you are to adjust with the external environment. So if you are ready or if you are flexible enough to adjust with the external environment means, so it reflects on your behavior. So it reflects on your behavior as well as the action. So that is the components of your personality. Next one, multiple expression. So it's a combination of your feeling, your relationship with others. So all this it's a combination of all these factors. So it influence, or all together it form a personality, individual personality. So it influence. So all this factor, your feelings, your thinking ability, and your relationship, close relationship, and your friends influence to build your personality. So these all are the components of personality. Moving further, the characteristics of personality. So personality is something which is unique in each individual. First one is, personality is something which is unique in each individual. So your feelings and your relationship, your bonding will differ from one individual to other individual. So it's a unique feature or unique characteristics. Individual personality is unique from individual to individual. Next one, personality refers particularly to persistent qualities of an individual. So personality, it specify your qualities or your quality of an individual. So individual quality, it specifies the individual quality. So next one, personality represents a dynamic orientation of organism to environment. So here it's the external environment is also changing continuously. So how you're going to react for that changes. So your behavior or your characteristics, your character for that changes. So your response for the changes. So it prescribes, it represents your changes. So changes in your behavior according to the changes in environment. Next one, personality is greatly influenced by social interaction. So the external source, that is your family members, your friends, and your close person, or the society, general society, your community will influence on the individual personality. So altogether it helps to form your personality. Next one, personality represents a unique organization of persistent, dynamic, and social predisposition. So this personality represents the unique organization of persistent, dynamic, and social predisposition. So it explains the society and the changing environment. So all these are the characteristics of personality. So moving further, the foundations of personality. On the basis of various definition, it can be said that the personality is founded on a certain structure. So the structures are classified into 3 types. So first one is a physiological structure of the organism. Physiological structure, it is from the initial stage, from the mother womb. Then your relationship, your family members, all individual will influence on your behavior or in your personality. So it carries from the family members, like heredity. So it carries from heredity. Then blood relationship. So all this helps to form your personality. So this is one of the structure to form a personality. So this is the foundation for an individual personality. So one thing, from the mother womb, then the blood relationship, heredity, all this is a foundation for individual personality. So that is first thing. So next one is psychic structure of an organism. So it is related to your soul and mind. It includes your attitude, your feelings, your sentiments, your traits. All this will influence, or this is the foundation for the personality, to form a personality. So your attitude towards an individual, your attitude towards one object, or your attitude towards job will influence. So this is the foundation to build your personality. So that is how you are going to adjust, or how you are going to behave, react for that situation. So based on your attitude towards the opposite party or opposite thing, it influence to form a personality. So that is psychic structure of the organism. So last one, social and cultural structure. Social and cultural structure. It includes your family members, your friends, your colleague, your various other like society, external members. So general public, all will influence to form your personality. So based on their reaction, based on the relationship, based on the coordination, you build your personality. So the relationship with the individual is different. So based on your relationship, you are going to behave or you are going to react to that situation. So your behavior or your response is different with individuals. So that it helps to form a personality. So next one, cultural structure. Your culture, your family background, your tradition will influence on your personality. To form a personality, all these are the foundation or basics for the personality. So based on your family member, based on your blood relationship, based on the heredity, then based on your soul and mind, that is your attitude, your trait, your sentiments, then your social factors, friends, relationship, general public, then your cultural background, all this will help to form the personality. So all these are the foundation for individual personality. So again, organization needs to study the individual personality, their ability, all these things in order to judge an individual and in order to predict the individual behavior, so that they can establish a coordination among the employee, so that it helps to achieve the overall objective of the organization. So next one, psychological structure. So it explains, it's from the mother womb or heredity, then blood relationship. Then psychic structure. Psychic structure, it includes your attitude, your traits, sentiments, all these things. Then your social and cultural structure. So the society member, so socio-cultural background, your friends and your relationship, then the general society will influence to form the personality. Then your cultural background, your tradition, your religion, all this will influence, all this helps to form a personality. So this is all about personality. This is all about today's session. Let us meet in the next session with some more topic. Until then, keep watching. Thank you.